Welcome back everyone, my name is Lee from Lou's Kitchen. Today we're going to make some better for you brownies. They're keto, they're low carb, and they're gluten free as well. So I've been doing a lot of naughty desserts lately. I did a tray of tiramisu last week and I ate all that. So I need to do something a little bit more healthier, and I thought a low carb brownie. So this brownie is great because it has a secret ingredient that keeps it incredibly moist, and also it doesn't have excess sugar in it that all the other brownies do have. I don't like anything overly sweet. I do like sweet, but not overly over the top or anything like that. Like most brownies, this doesn't have 2 cups of sugar in it. So I'm using a recipe from Low Carb with Abode, and we're going to follow that recipe. There's a couple of things I am going to change, but I know it's going to turn out great. And what I like about this recipe is that it uses a cup of the secret ingredient. A lot of the other recipes I only use a quarter cup of it, and I like the idea of using as much of it as possible. So I'm going to show you the ingredients, and I'm going to show you that is secret ingredient. So here's the ingredients for the brownie, and if you're doing keto already, they're already probably in your pantry, and they're such simple ingredients. So we've got 3 eggs. This is the end of my carton, so that's why I've got the extra one in there. We've got 60 grams of butter, half a cup of almond flour, half a cup of erythritol. We've got quarter cup of cacao powder or cocoa powder, your choice. We've got a third of a cup of chocolate chips. Now, in this recipe, you're meant to actually melt the chocolate chips, but these ones don't actually really melt properly, and because they're white chocolate, I'm just using what I've got. I'm actually just going to put these in like this instead of melting them. And then we've got some baking powder, some salt, and then there's a secret ingredient, and that is zucchini. So why zucchini? It makes your brownie incredibly moist, and you're not going to have issues with it drying out, and it's going to turn out great. I'm going to grate a cup's worth of zucchini. And if you've got kids, you could also peel this as well to get rid of that green. So when you get the final product, you're not going to see the green in it. It's just for me, so I'm not too fussed. Looks like a cup there. And if you notice your zucchini is a bit wet, you might want to put it into some chucks or something, or a dishcloth, and just really wring that extra water out of it. Right, that's done. Let's get on to the next step. So now we're going to mix our dry ingredients. So I have our half cup of almond flour. And what I also like about this recipe is it doesn't use a lot of almond flour. Got your quarter cup of cacao powder or cocoa powder. Then we're going to add half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're just going to add a pinch of salt. Anything with chocolate in it needs salt. And then we're just going to give that a quick stir, and we're going to put that aside for now. Next, we're going to grab our saucepan, and we're going to melt our butter and our erythritol. And I also left it out in the ingredients, but a teaspoon of vanilla as well. And then we're just going to put this on the stove, heat it gently, and wait till all that erythritol has completely melted into the butter, and then we can move on to the next step. While we're waiting for that, we're going to line our baking tray. So what I like to do is grab some oil and just spray a little bit into that tray. Even though it's not going to get stuck in the tray, I like to use that to actually stick the grease-free paper in it. And that way, it stays nice and flat in there, stuck down. So when you go to pull the batter in, you don't have any issues of it like moving around or anything like that. With the zucchini, I'm just going to run a knife through it. You could also put this in the food processor, chop it right up to like small chunks. That way it almost disappears into the brownie. In a small bowl, I'm just going to beat up our 3 eggs. It's just going to make it a little bit easier with assembling the brownie. Because once we add the wet mixture to the brownie, we don't want to mix it too fast, or else it's going to make it tough. And we're just going to whisk them up a little bit. So now that butter and our erythritol and vanilla has all melted, we can now add that to our mixture. We can add our zucchini and then our eggs. And we just want to beat this just until it is just done. We don't want to take it too far. And that is it. That's all we want to do. Last thing I'm going to do is add our chocolate chips. As I said in the recipe, she does melt these into the butter, but no, these ones aren't going to melt into it. So now I have our square lined baking dish. And we're just going to pour this in. So now we're going to bake this in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for around 25 minutes. And you only want to cook it until the top looks nice and glassy and it's just set, but don't take it too far. So keep an eye on it in that last 5 minutes because it might be ready before then. So I've just pulled this out with 3 minutes to go and you can see that top is nice and cooked. It's not sinking or anything like that, so that means it's ready now. So I'm gonna let this cool down completely and then we're gonna try this for dessert tonight. So I've let the brownies cool down a little bit and I'll slice it up. Let's try it out and let's see how it is. All right, so let's try this out. It's beautiful on top. Looks nice and cakey. If it was me, I would have probably actually cooked this a little bit less than I actually did. But it was my first time making them, so let's see how it is. That zucchini keeps it incredibly moist. It's deliciously buttery and it's so good. My only negative would be I used a erythritol and stevia blend, which is a 1 to cup ratio sweetener. I would probably use just straight erythritol or even allulose, and I think it would turn out great. Just that you do get that little aftertaste from the stevia, but that is my only negative. I think this is fantastic, and next time the kids come down, I'm going to make it again. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a good old like. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.